and welcome to the new normal. I'm your host, Lisa Davis, aka Like Queen Lisa. Today has been a wild day. If you haven't caught some of my shows today and the shows that I've been able to be a part of, it's been busy. Start out with World Blockchain Roundtable, and there was a great show there. I got to host the beginning of it, so I did not stream it, but you can go to Dragon Chain and check out that episode, or any of our Twitter or X. We'll be sharing that on there as well. And I'll share a post later. Tonight, I just haven't had a chance. And then that followed up immediately with a super fun episode of The Tea with Jenny and Lisa. And we had a special guest, the one and only Bix Weir, join us, which was just great. And we talked about silver and theta and veritasium and markets. And it was just all so good. So, and we got very woo, which is so much fun. I love having fun with my woo friends. And we've got another woo friend, one of my other favorites, the one and only SkullcapSaVant, joining me right after this. Friday the 13th, markets, all the things. We'll see what the woo has to say about this. So give me a like, share the video, and jump in the live chat. Welcome back, Ben. How are you?
I'm fine.
Doing good in this woo world.
Yeah. Josh and I had a good film excursion last weekend, and
very cool.
Had a productive rekindling of sorts, as we always do. So it was good.
It always is encouraging when you get together with friends and you know that you have a common goal, and you can see the actions coming together to move that forward. You know, things start falling in place and doors start
and trusting the other person implicitly. Yeah, there's nothing like working with people like that. So it was time well spent. But back to the grindstone this week. I got my decode done.
Awesome.
I mentioned everybody in the last show we did. I think it was 3 weeks ago now.
Okay.
No, 2 weeks ago. Right. Yep. It was 2 weeks ago, right before March. Hawk and Dove. I came across these comics, guys. As always, you can expect me to bring in some sort of crazy, wacky reference to comics that have been published over the years that reveal something through the steganography laden within them about the world that we are inhabiting and the timeline of events that are unfolding, with key markers that I come across in these. So, for context, everybody remembers last week on March 3rd was the eclipse.
Yes.
Right?
The red moon.
It was eclipse season. We had another eclipse prior to that on which was a solar eclipse rather than a lunar eclipse, which this one on March 3rd was. I forget. It was a number of weeks prior. It was like a month prior.
Yeah. I can't remember either.
The thing is this new moon eclipse happened in a key in the sidereal calendar, at least the Vedic calendar, happened in Leo, which is really key for the steganography. It's key for the Washington Monument, which I've laid out in a lot of my research, and in that of the winter solstice reset ritual of 2020, which seems to be a much more ancient planning of events than anybody realizes. It ties in with the Mayan system and all sorts of stuff. There's more than one reason why 2020 will probably be designated as year zero eventually. Mm-hmm. And the Washington Monument played a key role. So granted, as a primer for everybody, this comic was published in 1988. And the reason why it kind of hit on when I saw this cover, I have a weird feed on my corner of the internet. People surface this stuff to me in my Discord channel. It's essentially how I find out about some of this stuff sometimes. I've got like my own little minion crawlers that really aren't my minions. I've just planted the seed of steganography in their head where they know what to look for and say, hey, this kind of looks weird, right? And that's how I came across this. The
Because
reason
it starts rhyming. You start seeing it everywhere, and it's like a rhyme. You're like, wait a minute, that goes with that. It's a pattern and a rhyme.
And the fact that that on the cover you see the main character Hawk and Dove. You see the clear V steganography present just in the cover of this one. This is the second issue in a 5-part miniseries, and again, 5 V steganography has a tendency to reveal itself in round figures of 5 because it's the number of man, the number of senses, the number of to control, the number of digits on your hand, etc. So on and so forth. V is also number 5 Roman numeral. Fancy that, right? So 1988, Hawk and Dove, V steganography within the construct of the Washington Monument. Go to my V Cipher community channel on Rumble if you guys don't know what I'm talking about. You're going to have to watch a couple of 3 to 4 hour long presentations on just that topic alone to grasp what I'm getting at here, what the winter solstice reset ritual was in 2020. But make no mistake about it, it has a lot to do with the kayfabe and the ritual of the election at that time, the fraud, the unfolding of what needed to happen over the next 4 years, the purposeful stepping back of the Trump regime to let things collapse.
The NDAA of that year was significant as well because that was the large change in military power,
right?
To giving it more to taking away from the Air Force and into
it was the beginning of the CIA versus military war out in the open. It really was a war of intelligence at that point because we had a fake pretendency, as we say, where Jim Carrey, in all likelihood, was in a Biden mask for 4 years as the lead actor of the term.
Well, he did ask how he could, be forgiven for what he had done. And so there are several of them that when you look back at the movie, you wonder.
A note on this, because the Jim Carrey thing did unfold where everybody now doubts, like, who's the clone of Jim Carrey? It's likely a person in a mask, just like everybody thought. Funny enough, the same day that Jim Carrey gave that French award speech, Biden was back on the campaign trail. How much you want to bet real Jim Carrey is in the Biden mask, donning that to go around and act like Biden again, because it looked just like the Jim Carrey guy in the mask of Biden the same day.
Because they could have needed a cover for him to travel.
That's what I mean. Exactly.
An excuse. Yeah, that makes sense.
So anyway, back to the 2020 winter solstice reset ritual. There's a whole bunch of V steganography in the Washington Mall too, guys, in the V days that it designates, victory days, mainly with World War II. There are monuments that throughout the course of the year, like a hand on a clock, the shadow of the Washington Monument touches these key monuments on these key dates. And it all lines up very, very well with these days, again, in our calendar, which are designated as V days. Anyway, there's a whole bunch to unpack on my channel about that. We have to get back to this. The reason this became interesting, it being a 1988 comic, is it's the same year The Economist magazine came out with the Flaming Eagle, the Phoenix, with the fiat reset and the 10-cent piece that it was sitting on top of. Today, I've always argued this, by the way, Tencent, the company in China that controls most of like TikTok, they own ByteDance. They're a huge conglomerate that owns like all of they're like the big AI conglomerate now over there in China too. Big crypto conglomerate. Tencent has a lot to do with a lot of this proceeding in the global monetary reset. But even further, this red moon, this full moon, doesn't happen all that often. And the fact that it's coming around with these themes where Hawk and Dove with the Vsteg are the main characters, this made me also obviously correlate it to the Fed's policy stances that it can take at any given time. You see in the headlines where the Fed, the financial institution that is not a financial institution, makes interest rate decisions based on key demographic data points, employment, gross domestic product, like whatever the hell they're up there on the stage for any given 6-week period that they make these decisions on. It's always talked about where they take a hawkish, offensive approach to their policy, or a dovish defensive approach to their policy. Funny enough, these two characters represent exactly that, a defensive posturing in the fighting style and an offensive posturing in the fighting style. So what became kind of crazy when you read into this is this became a story of kind of ghosts and demons. It's this kind of supernatural kind of antagonist where these two characters of Dove and Hawk gain superpowers from this ethereal source that comes to them in their time of need, where their parents are in trouble. And so a voice comes out of nowhere, almost like a godly voice that says, I will imbue you with these powers if you accept them without consequence, if you want to go save your parents, right? And so the two brothers said, great, we'll do that. And so the powers manifested onto them, and they became Hawk and Dove. So anytime there was danger, all they had to do was speak the name of their alter ego, Hawk and Dove, and they would transform. And these were brothers. In the backstory, in the first one, the brother dies.
No.
And so Hawk is now a lone wolf, like with a chip on his shoulder. And he's been this offensively minded, kind of reckless dude, and he's college age, right? So it goes on to the next one where the female comes in. Somehow there's been a new Dove assigned, and he's all pissy about it. He's like, you're not the real Dove, right?
Yeah.
And it goes through kind of like just this exposition of the characters unfolding until in the third, they reach the antagonist. Remember, it's a 5-episode arc, and our steganography really doesn't come in until the last couple here. So I'm showing these.
Yeah.
Kestrel was another one of these beings that was given other evil imbued powers from this disembodied being, from wherever the hell it's coming from, and like zapping people with powers in their times of need or strife or whatever. And so he embodies chaos, kind of offensive and defensive, kind of like yin and yang, a balance versus a chaos, right? And the balance of the team only comes into play, in stark contrast to chaos. They battle each other in the realm of
a common enemy, when they have a common enemy.
When they have a common enemy, and they finally, Hawk also learns to accept Dove and the interplay between them in that. But Kestrel ends up being this being of chaos, right? And so he manifests all of these demons from the altar realm to attack, and Hawk really gets offensive. He gets fucking Rambo about it. And that's funny. And he's tearing them apart. It gets kind of violent in this one. And by the end of it, we now know who Dove is. Her backstory has come into play.
Okay.
Hawk is just kind of this preppy kid who's now in college. Dove, in her character, in her real life form, is like a daughter of a dignitary over in London. They defeat the demons. And again, the fifth comic is going to be interesting to dig through with the steganography. But as kind of sometimes happens in these, you'll come across ads for other things that are being released at the time.
Yeah.
And they reveal much too about where to point your direction to. And so this is kind of, I wanted to put the Invasion series.
The aliens.
The 3-part alien invasion series where these aliens came and attacked Earth, I guess. I got to get this one. Ultimately, I have to.
Yeah.
And the Hawks, the Hawk man and the Hawk woman and Hawk man from this other planet end up being instrumental in defending the Justice League and Earth against this alien invasion. I learned right when I was looking into the plot, and they end up in some of the comic cells it looks like they're taking on this flaming guise again, like the flaming bird.
The Phoenix.
Also released in 1988, this one was.
Another timely nod to 88. Just a little thing to put in your cap. Just yesterday or this week, Christopher Lloyd turned 88.
Oh, you're kidding. Oh, wow. Very significant 88.
Back to the Future, yeah.
With the matchy.
Yeah.
Okay. That's crazy. So we have the 88 time ritual. Remember, everyone, 8 A's time. And we have in Oz rituals, we have time manipulation. That's kind of at the heart what Oz conveys. Is when you see that, when you not that metaphor, but that allegory of Oz present in any sort of form of symbolism, you have a sense that the mind is being altered because of some sort of manipulation. CIA tactics abound, use that kind of imagery and iconography to control the mind, or at least it's present in a lot of the comic series these days, if that wasn't aware too. The time variance authority in the Deadpool and Wolverine story arcs, where there's like a whole governmental bureaucracy behind the scenes that controls the structure of time, right? Just like Oz. Well, back to our Hawk and Dove final issue. From the chaos, an ending. And you can see Dove is face to face with Kestrel here, and Hawk is out here, and he's kind of subdued.
And it looks almost like cheetah print or something.
It's like print. Yeah, it's like little. They're in the chaos realm. There are these little kind of tiny like explosion looking things.
The only reason I bring that up is Melania's dress today was a long cheetah skirt similar to that imaging, you know.
All right. Well, first cell, check it out. We have Big Ben and a clock, London, and a hold up in London. It goes on basically to symbolize Dove's parents. This is her moment where it's going through the backstory of when the disembodied being gave her powers, where her parents were at risk because there was like a Unabomber kind of a guy holding a gun to his mom's head because she worked at the U.S. Embassy in London. And he's basically saying, the skies are red because of your ties and Maggie Thatcher's ties to drug cartels and ill government deals, basically. So he's kind of like, again, a truth teller who's had enough. He's kind of like the Unabomber, right? There he is, holding the mom hostage.
Yeah.
And so Dove's character kind of has to ask for help all of a sudden, and she becomes Dove in this pact with this disembodied being and gains these powers to go save her mom, right? And she ends up getting a message here on this cell. You'll love this, from the disembodied being.
Stop.
That says, I remember hearing Big Ben chime the first time I became Dove. It was 9 o'clock. 11 birds were startled into flight by the bells. I could count them just by the sound of their wings. And 11 was the number of minutes I had left before the embassy blew up. Therefore, the embassy was to blow up at 9/11.
9/11, yeah. And 11 is the Twin Towers.
Well, yeah, there's your Tita Rutas formula on the stand in the new version, in the 2007 version of the Wishes and Rainbows comic, not the 1981 version.
Okay.
But you have the collapse of the chandelier that she facilitates on top of everyone, which signifies kind of the silver market plummeting down, and she diffuses a bomb by luck alone to save the embassy. And I'm pretty sure that what we're talking about here is the defensive posturing. Again, Dove, the defensive posturing of trying to crash the silver market. With, the 9/11 context here, the 1988 Economist cover being a tie-in to this whole little steganography arc. And also, guys, get this. Hawk and Dove, monthly copyright, 1988 DC Comics. located in New York at offices in 666 Fifth Avenue, New York, 10103. This is the building that Jared Kushner owns, or family owned at the time, even then, but has now divested it into a lease as it goes. The Kushner family has leased the building for 900 years or something to some private equity firm, because they were underwater on the price of it, because they bought it for $1.5 billion or something like that. So the 666 building also had, if you go back to the 1980s, the time the comic was in place, where DC had their headquarters out of that building, it was a very, very key building in the whole Wall Street period after the 1987 collapse. That building was no longer like at the height of its heyday when everybody was able to trade the penny stock. Well, the Wolf of Wall Street story. Actually, you just go to the Wolf of Wall Street movie. Right. They filmed that scene with Matthew McConaughey where he's like bumping his chest. And that's at the top of the 666 building where traders all used to meet. There's a lot going on here with hawk and dove policies. From the chaos comes an ending. Ultimately, how this all resolves is, get this, Lisa, hawk and dove defeat Kestrel in the chaos realm. But they also, in the process, through other key events, figure out that they themselves are being played by whoever the disembodied voice is. Who the fuck is that, right? And that's kind of where it all ends. Who's the man behind the curtain? Therefore, who's Oz? Who's the one controlling the board? So it's a very, very indicative little journey through our steganographical lens of comics as they forecast financial destruction.
Yeah, and the hawk and the dove are, known in the financial industry for trends of the market.
Next level sorcery, isn't it? Yes. I mean, in my opinion, this stuff gets created and it becomes kind of therefore like a playbook that you can use. It's there. The template's there. And I can't deny that there are beats in this that it almost seems too much like it's not being used in some sort of a way. There's one of the artifacts in here, by the way, part of the whole deconstruction that really locks in the Oz narrative. Mm-hmm. The artifact in Hank's house, because here's Dove and Hank, here's Hawk and Dawn are their names when they're civilians. And Dawn is at dinner at Hank's parents at the very end, after all the action subsided and things are cooling down. And that's when she had the realization about there being the disembodied being, somebody playing her. It was a watch. And it was the watch that once belonged to the original Dove, Hank's brother that died. And the watch's hands were stuck at 4:11, but adjusted for London time would have been 9:11.
Oh my God.
And so she then realized, oh my God, I thought I became Dove to fill the shoes of the original Dove. Mm-hmm. But I became Dove 11 minutes before the other one actually died. Who's the one playing us and giving us these powers?
Yeah. Who's the power?
And it all had to do with the watch as the artifact of the.
Which we had all the nods with the Intrepid, with JFK Jr.'s watch. Now you're seeing biographies of, there was just, I think it was called The Love Story about JFK Jr. And Caroline is out. Melania just had her biography. They've got one coming out about Michael Jackson soon as well.
Oh, really? What's that one going to be about? Michael Jackson, huh?
Yeah.
Are they going to set the record straight that he was the one trying to save the kids and not the one that was diddling them?
I don't know. I think it'll be interesting. But to the Oz moment, we had this significant event happen when Trump was speaking in Kentucky yesterday.
And this was what you're saying, this green screen.
Yeah, and it's streamed over all of the streaming. And somebody in the community broke it down. Their idea was that it turned green for 38 seconds, go to Q38, the calm before the storm, is that post. And 4 carriers and escorts in the Pacific. Why is it relevant? Prevent other state actors from attempting to harm us during this transition. So part of like the act of the Strait of Hormuz being shut down might be a protection thing less and not so much an oil thing, possibly.
Well, you've seen some of the initial videos coming out of the actual battles at night, and you're seeing some definite next level plasma or electric weaponry.
Oh, I'm sure
being used. Which, I mean, I know you were probably going to tie in that otherworldly green weapon that you showed me earlier to this, right? Because I'm sure that those things both kind of happened hand in hand on the same day.
Yeah. So this, and in this post, 452, I think it says enough is enough, and that's GO, green is go. And it talks about the owls and all this stuff. Well, then in Oklahoma, there was, let me make sure I have the right picture pulled up. Oh, and it didn't share to the right. Sorry, guys. They're share this tab instead. So this is in Oklahoma. This is over this little thing with the V, which you see it's blue or purple or something, is the Devon Tower. It's the tallest tower in Oklahoma City. And they're having plans to make it the tallest tower in the nation or the world or something crazy.
What?
But,
seriously?
Yeah, in Oklahoma City. I'm just saying. This is a green laser beam shooting into the sky. And this is a meteorologist mentioning this 20 hours ago. Well, then a big wall cloud moves in. And I've lived in Oklahoma for years, decades. I've never seen a wall cloud with a green light coming out of it. And of course, here is Devon Tower. Right there. So somewhere around here is about where that green
laser.
This
was some number of hours after the laser guidance apparatus was viewable at night, right?
Understanding on time frame. But you'll notice the Devon Tower is now green. And that typically is red or blue for Oklahoma Thunder or whatever. So thought that was very interesting, odd, and strange, and should be questioned. So
yeah, especially did a tornado touchdown?
They have had some tornado damage, but that right then it was just the wall cloud. It was kind of forming, but kind of freaky.
Remember my Twisters analysis in the age of Leo. Leo is very significant to what we're going through right now, because unbeknownst to most who think that we are going into the age of Aquarius, it's actually the age of Leo. We're reading the calendar 180 degrees opposite, because we observe the vernal equinox as the start of the sidereal calendar, where it's actually the autumnal equinox, 180 degrees apart. So you reverse the calendar, we're actually going into the age of Leo, which is, I suspect, why I think we've talked about this, about, the Sphinx being carved away, because Leo pointing out to the key conjunctions of Sirius. 2020 was a big day. December 21st, 2020.
Okay.
It was a very big day for all of the age of Leo being ignited, Again, go watch those same videos I referenced earlier. They're really important ones if anybody wants to know. Where am I here? Yeah, here we go. If anybody wants to know really the themes that we're talking about tonight, here's the first one and the second one.
Are you sending that to me? Okay.
So people, you can show them to people if you want, but
I'll put it up because it'll be easier for them to find. Also, go find Ben, the V Cipher community on Rumble, and click that link. Make sure you turn the notifications on, and spend some time. Just even if you just watch the most recent, 3 or 5 videos.
On your channel.
Your your like last couple videos
Yeah,
were
the ones I did in 2024. I did a series of 6 of them in 24, where I came back because there were some, the Super Bowls were all very connected in the kayfabe of the last 10 years, and the financial collapse signals that lay therein. So it's worth, if you're into this kind of thing, my last videos from 2024. This one's clearly I did in the moment as things were unfolding in 2020, and showed very keenly what was going on, at least with the occult side of the military's actions in collapsing things the way that we are, because there were people in the sorcery crowd, in the Pharisees camp, that were trying to take these sacred astrological waypoints, milestones, and use them for their own tooling. And that's where the mind control comes in. We're very powerful in our execution of what we desire. So if they could control what we desire, or be very suggestive about what we desire, their deeds carry out through our psychic ability.
Right. That's why they need us. Yeah.
Right. And that's why the steganography is there in the first place.
We are the manifestors.
You need the grounding of the symbol in order for it to take root in the mind. So anyway, if you go back to the hermetic nature of even obelisks and what the Washington Monument is, you go to the Hawkman and Hawk Girl I was talking about in that invasion series, right? The whole invasion side story. I showed you the ad for here. Where was it? Yeah, here it is. This one, invasion. Oh, the aliens came.
Alien/zombie,
Yeah, he's creepy looking, isn't he?
Yeah, he's terrible looking.
But it's a 3-episode series. I'll have to decode that one at some point in the future too. But the key thing is, I think, to our story today, Hawkman and Hawkwoman, the whole lore behind where their race comes from is they're just humanoids that worship the sun, Helios, and the hawk, therefore.
Like the Mercury, fly too close to the sun and melt the wings.
Well, hawks, specifically hawks, can stare at the sun, and it does not have an effect in terms of it altering the glare or the perception or depth. They can effectively stare at the sun and it not really affect them. That's why they symbolize sun worship. So there's actually a very hermetic backstory to Jesus, Horus, and Horus being the hawk. You can stare straight in the sun and receive direct from, the closest thing to source, to God, that you can receive is looking at the sun. So anyway, this is a lot to do with, again, Osiris, the number 14, and the 411 that you saw, 411 on the watch in the story. But Hawkman and Hawkgirl, they're said on their planet to be the reincarnations of the original people that founded Egypt on Earth.
Oh, wow.
That's how it goes in the DC lore of it anyway. Okay. So they actually see how weird comics get.
It's bizarre.
It just,
they're like the Adam and Eve of Earth in the comic world.
Well, they're the guardians of it now. They're part of the Justice League, and they help defend Earth because it's a sacred place and all this shit. Just like the Green Lantern Corps. That's, just like we're talking about green. It's kind of the job of the Green Lantern Corps in DC too. Yeah. So there's a lot of weird shit with alien invasion also in the now happening. We're dealing with it, the spillover effects. And, part of the dimension of this war, I think, is we have to get comfortable with using advanced technology, and we have to move in that direction quickly. It has to become our norm. We're back in this kinetic warfare mindset as a population, and most people don't know what leaps and bounds better.
You know what? It's so crazy for you to say that. I don't know that I can pull up the article, but you guys will have to trust me or look it up for yourself. But they recently did, and I don't know if it was MIT or another school, but I saw a study where they literally had 2 people that know each other play Q&A 50 miles apart from each other and answer the questions and then come together, and they like basically they were communicating through, I guess, telepathy. But it was like a scientific study that they did that. And so that's kind of that, if we realize we are all already connected, we would, and we had some of this discussion earlier today with Bix and Jenny about the remembering. And, you know, Bix said, well, it's important for us to forget everything to be able to come here and have the life experiences, because so the life experiences that we have give gain or value to the collective.
Well, trauma holds you back to that degree too. So you can't have detail-based memory on, I have feeling-based memory. I know that I do. I have great, like, boiling blood for the justice that needs to be served, for instance, because I'm probably one of these Cathari that got burnt alive, you know, and you feel that at your core, and the correction that needs to happen there. And however it does, there's a weird impulse. There's a weird undercurrent. So I don't know, how do you make the distinction of what memory really is? Because I can't, again, detail-based memory, sequence-based, event-based memory, not something obtainable for that key reason. So you don't have to relive that trauma. Otherwise you would, you know, you wouldn't actually have the karmic progression.
Well, just like with the when they put the pilots in the Kraken, because they have to have that, what is it called, vestibular response, or what is that called? It's some kind of like inner body response of the movement, so that they learn, okay, I think I'm upside right, but I'm really upside down. But you have to go through the training. You have to physically go through
you have to be your genetic
learning
disposition almost has to activate too. That's actually what a lot of in the comics, actually, how a lot of them obtain their powers is they're put through purposeful trauma, pushed to the brink of death in order to unlock their abilities. And it's one of the trials in the Freemasonic moving through the ranks too. There's a step along the way where, by way of the ritual that you're partaking in, there is the assumption and belief that momentarily, at very least, you think you're going to die. You don't, after, you know, being suffocated right up to the point of, you know, not being suffocated or whatever the ritual is, however they elicit it. I think it's different depending on the color lodge or whatever, but there is a point past the fealty phase of progressing through the ranks that, in order to feel that bond with the lodge and the belief structure you're in, you have to experience the brink of death. And it's supposed to be very enlightening all the same, but I think you can also get there by psychedelics.
I was going to say, that sounds like people talking about their not just ayahuasca, but ketamine or DMT trips or something like that.
Have you ever heard of a girl named Sabrina Wallace?
Not that I can recall.
She was a DARPA baby. Her parents were DARPA engineers, and she was made a subject not of pedophilia experiments, but like psychic experiments.
Oh, and what's her name again?
Her name's Sabrina Wallace.
Oh, Sabrina Wallace. How funny, Sabrina, like the witch.
She makes no apologetic remarks about how she presents information. I've done a reading with Jenny on this privately, actually, just to obtain like a good calibration of where she stands on her life experience, what's made up, what's bullshit, if any, and then what's shaded too, because I know her mind is probably fucked a little bit because of the experimentation itself. But it's pretty spot on with what the cards have revealed. She does have some brain damage a little bit, but she's not lying about anything. And she talks about how the map of the human body has been made into a network interface for frequency manipulation. So you can puppet a human at a distance because they're just a big system of Wi-Fi signals.
It's
basically
network. Yeah. Neural network.
Yeah. And well, even beyond that, like specifically attenuating specific organs to it goes beyond, and it's very nefarious if it's ever used to the extent that she suspects it can be used for. But she's a whistleblower on what DARPA does with human experimentation and the manipulation of said frequency nodes in the body. And it can get kind of spooky when you look into it, but anyway, kind of food for thought. Food for thought.
Before we go, I know we're still early, but I wanted to hit on the U.S. bank building and those ties with Larry Silverstein and the pattern of that with
yeah, may as well, since we're talking 9/11 rituals today from the comics.
Yes.
Yeah, so U.S. Bank is more significant than just the label on this building too. I'll give everyone else another video to watch, which is I gotta find my Glass-Steagall one.
Yeah, you're good. While you're doing that, I'm going to update everybody on. So just if you didn't know, Larry Silverstein owns U.S. Bank Tower in Los Angeles, and now we're hearing reports of drone terror attacks in California. Just 2 months before 9/11, the World Trade Center was sold to Larry Silverstein. He ate breakfast on the 91st floor on the North Tower every single morning, except 9/11. Conveniently, his wife made him an emergency doctor's appointment that day. And I believe you said it was a dentist appointment. Larry Silverstein's companies received $4.5 billion in insurance after 9/11. And now he has just, 2 days ago bought the U.S. Bank.
Bought the U.S. Bank building. Yep. So what U.S. Bank?
It has a number 12 on top of it. I don't know if that's significant to you, but it might be.
No, not to this specific decode yet. It could be, but okay. I haven't tied it together.
Not that we know yet. Yeah.
So what everybody needs to know about the Super Bowl rituals in specific is that ever since Super Bowl 52, which is the first one that Trump presided over within his presidency, there's been a distinct characteristic nod toward bank collapse rituals. Okay. And Super Bowl 52 was an interesting setting because it was Minnesota, and it was the Eagles that beat the Patriots. A lot of people know already that the Patriot Act reign, the Patriots dynasty in football, started with Tom Brady in 2001 when 9/11 happened. Remember Drew Bledsoe, number 11, the Twin Towers, like number 11 on his back, Twin Towers, right? Gets taken out by two New York Jets players the week prior, replaced with Tom Brady. 9/11 happens with two Jets hitting the Twin Towers and taking them down. The Patriot Act gets installed. Homeland Security puts TSA at all airport terminals. And we have a new world that we now live in under the government's thumb, under the Patriot Act. Right. The symbolism of the Patriots.
And don't forget the banking changes that happened with that, because there's a lot of KYC. The Patriot Act was them getting into our bank accounts without a warrant. It violates our constitutional rights to privacy and freedom.
Yes. So, among other things, of documentation and vaults that were emptied under the buildings that day. It all has to do with banking collapse. It's all a very long, drawn-out story that most of you already know the beats of, at least at that level. So go back to the Super Bowl rituals of it. The Patriots are finally defeated by the Eagles at the end of the reign. It was Tom Brady's last gasp at winning a Super Bowl as a Patriot, and before the whole Chiefs thing took off and the Chiefs became the next big thing.
Oh, how
Tom
fun.
Brady did move the 1 year to Tampa Bay, and I called it that at the beginning of the year. It was Super Bowl 55. It was set to take place in Tampa Bay.
Is that a Dolphin? Is that the Dolphin team?
No, that's the Buccaneers.
Oh, Tampa.
The Templars.
Okay. But then
they fly the Jolly Roger, the Templar flag, you know.
There you go. And then he went from there. So the Pirates came in. This is telling the story of what we're living through.
Well, I chronicled it on my channel. I'm just reviewing for people on the beats here of why US Bank is at the heart of even the Super Bowl rituals. Because US Bank Stadium is where the Eagles beat the Patriots in Super Bowl 50.
Before you go there. So he goes from the Buccaneers to what? Tell me again.
No, he's retired. He retired as a Buccaneer. No.
Oh, you said he went to the Chiefs.
No, the Chiefs just became the next hot team who won virtually every year after that.
So the Chiefs won because, we're seeing this big trend on Indian tribes and nations getting control of the land back and all that. So I wondered if that was a story.
Well, a lot of it was the commander-in-chief, Trump. The Chiefs represented the commander-in-chief defeating. First, they defeated San Francisco and the banking cartel of gold and JP Morgan and all that, right?
Yeah.
They beat San Francisco twice in their whole Super Bowl run. So there's a lot of symbolism there, of who the Chiefs are beating along the way. They're also beating the top teams. But the Buccaneers won in the Super Bowl 55 as a home team. It was the first ever Super Bowl where not only the team that played in it played at home, but also won at home. And then the next year, it happened again. Super Bowl 56, the Aryan Rams win at home in LA. This goes way deeper than we need to go in that direction tonight, but obviously there's a lot of this shit there that pushes out the banking collapse rituals. But focusing on Super Bowl 52, kind of where it started, US Bank Stadium in Minnesota, where a lot of the fraud is happening, where the fraud inception has started. And we've talked on this channel about the Kensington Runestone being important, the land claim on America that the Templars put out in the 1300s.
And we'll tell everybody why, because it touches a waterway, which touches the linking of all waterways.
The water table of Minnesota connects with all the tributaries that extend to rivers and streams and lakes and other water tables throughout the United States. Anything that the way that land claims worked with runestones back in those days is if you claimed a piece of land within like a 50-mile radius of that, I think it is, of that stone, any of the waterways that touch any of the other waterways as an extension of that are now your land claim. And by virtue of that, it's something like 80% of the United States and 40% of Canada is claimed by the Templars just because of the placement of the Kensington Runestone. So Minnesota is a big state for that. There's a reason why they're the Vikings in the football, because the Vikings were the Templars that came over there and were instrumental in all of this. So banks have a lot to do with keeping all of these things under wraps. And the US Bank Stadium is made out of glass. It's the only all glass stadium at the time. There's another stadium, Atlanta's is partially glass now, but Minnesota's is all glass. And the Eagles beat the Patriots. It was a Glass-Steagall ritual. The Glass Stadium, the Glass-Steagall Act of 1999, which was repealed by Clinton, that allowed banks to invest in the markets, how we find ourselves in this derivative mess in the first place, that came apart. It was broken in that ritual by the Eagles beating the Patriots as that scripting went. And that was important because the Eagles actually became the Steagles because they merged in 1943 with the Pittsburgh Steelers to become the Steagles. They were the Philadelphia Steagles for one season in 1943.
Can't make
again, go back to my video. You'll see how Warren Moon, Joe Montana, and other players that were participating in the commentary at the time. It's all focused on the Artemis moon missions that were upcoming in 2024 that are ongoing today. The moon is a big focus in all of this. Financial reset and ancient Earth history under the thumb, which, the US Bank Stadium icon, now the US Bank building with Larry Silverstein in LA. It's a good thing to watch as part of the tapestry, I would say, right? What do you think?
Oh, I mean, I just love the storyline, and I love that they have to put it out there in front of you. So that's where the reason that we go through all these is, and compare to the past and all that, is so that we can look with open eyes, fresh eyes at what's happening right now.
Yeah.
And where the two are paralleling. So
yeah, it's interesting. And so watch the US Bank building from being destroyed, which would be just too stupid.
Too obvious.
But
tomorrow's so many things.
Tomorrow's going to be a weird day. Anything can happen tomorrow. Tomorrow's Friday the 13th, right? So what do you think? If you're a betting woman on Polymarket,
I think that Trump's go green, and then the Oz nod with the tornado being green,
the Emerald City,
right? All of that to me is, and things are all lining up. If we look to Cliff's latest Woo News, you got the hardback. I just have the Kindle version.
Yeah.
But basically it's saying like this part of the war is going to be, how did he say? The general data forecast and impact of the general loss of control of the powers that be by officialdom, the desperate battle to control or to something. My page kind of cut off. The central banks under something leadership is showing is succeeding with very little result as the control of civilian population is broken by developing technology and the emergence of new behavior patterns within the war. So it's like we do wake up. They lose their control over us. And some of that is this corrupt banking system, of course. The governments are supposed to struggle with loss of control, not only population's behavior, but ability to indoctrinate future generations. And that's encouraging.
Well, yeah, the lack of being able to indoctrinate is going to be by way of hopefully smarter assessment tools with trusting AI, though, too, because that's one of the big problems I see with kids. That just interpret AI as gospel and interpretations.
Right. It hallucinates and all kinds of things. Yeah, some woman used AI for her lawsuit in lieu of an attorney, and I don't advocate attorneys, but anyway, and the AI hallucinated, made up court cases and statutes. Then she walks in and of course it all gets shut down because it's not accurate, not true. So she's left defenseless there. So we have to use our own common sense. And that's another great statement when he's talking about the ability, that they lose the ability to indoctrinate future generations. It says prescient language, and it shows an integration period of several decades of hard lessons learned, where mental strength, reasoning ability will prevail over the powers already in place. So this critical thinking, asking why, looking for the patterns, that's what's going to, no one's coming to save you, but you can save yourself. You can pay attention and see these patterns, and they have to put it out there and tell you. So better to know what you're looking for.
Well, and I think a lot of people are getting scammed too with these. Crypto is going to work itself out, though. Like that's one of the things that's in here is that he's at some point the crypto the good ones will quickly be known because the situation will facilitate for people to get wise about where they're actually storing their money,
Right. Your energy. Yeah. I
And
think we should stop even using the word money,
EC.
because yeah, it's our energy that we've chosen to walk into this.
I think currency is the bad word. Money is not. Money is sound. Money is what you want. It's currency that you don't need because it doesn't have any inherent value underneath what the facsimile face value says it is.
Because of centralized control. Yeah.
So much centralized control, apparently, though, that in the reports he was also stating, where was it here? Stating, among other problems besetting central banks, this is on page 26, will be the revelations of more miracle computers behind hidden accounting ledgers. Like the 14 computers that they found. I thought that number was pretty funny too. 14 odds, 14 computers, really. And so you have 14 computers already known, but with these other hidden accounting ledgers, he says the truth is so bad no one can handle it. If all the fiat dollars in all forms had to be covered by gold backing, the price for an ounce of gold would exceed several millions of dollars per ounce. Such an absurdity obviously can't exist, and the data is forecasting huge collapses in deflation as the response within the system. The collapses of the perceived value within the fiat system is the giant sucking hole that propels the central banking system to become hugely creative at their inflation tactics.
Interesting.
So.
Well, and we know that there are those efforts to control. I had shared with you a letter I got in the mail from, what was it? Who was it? Money Metals. And they are specifically in Oklahoma trying to legislate.
Yeah, show that thing. That's crazy.
Yeah, hold on. I'll let me show this to you guys so you can read it with us. I might have to open it open with preview. Okay, now I should be able to see it. There we go. So it says, Dear Oklahoma, gold and silver investor, in a shock move, Oklahoma House has preliminary approved a partial government takeover of gold and silver. This is urgent. We need your help. House Bill 1197, 1199, Senate Bill 2058 aren't stopped. They will spawn big government scheme that gives Oklahoma bureaucrats power to manage, oversee, and control the purchase, sale, storage, and use of gold and silver by Oklahoma citizens. And so he's talking about, would put the state government into direct competition with private Oklahoma businesses in the gold space, offering the same services. Some could even be driven out of business. So they're floated as being favorable to gold ownership, but these proposals are very pro-big government, anti-free market, and anti-privacy. So they want you to contact them. And hearing that this is going on is just, I think it's timing that they know the dollar's failing. People are going to turn to, traditionally gold, silver for those safety, places when things are bad. But the fact that they're trying to have control, this sounds like back when they nationalized gold previously and had everybody turn it in,
Well, it says, what does it say? Put these.
Let me find the other page.
Just toward gold to have been floated as favorable toward gold ownership at these.
So they start talking about this using a statewide central banking currency. Hold on, let me share the second page with you. Oh, I hope this is the second page. I can't see. Yeah, okay. So it says more than 10 states have already rejected similar bills. So maybe it just has to be rejected. Remember, Cliff did say that the new money would be rejected several times before. Oh, you're muted.
Oh, Hello,
Sorry.
hello.
Yes, I
No.
can hear you now. Um,
The ones that the Fed tried to institute, for sure, whatever money policies they would be putting out there, they said out of his reports, three attempts, I think is what the
so here's an explanation of what these bills do. It says that it effectively establishes a central state digital currency, a CSDC in Oklahoma,
there you go.
similar
Okay.
to a similar bank currency, which I don't know that they could do that because the Supreme Court just struck down CBDCs. But okay, anyway,
Yeah.
this imposes the same type of government-run money control scheme that central planners, have listed after for years. So there is, sorry, the dog's going nuts and mom's screaming at it. Let's see. Stop a partial government takeover of citizens' gold by ensuring that they do not pass. It's interesting that they mention creating a CSDC, a central state digital currency.
Yeah.
I don't know that that's a bad thing.
Well, as long as it's like a gold emphasized backing of something with,
Because that
like,
could,
if they make it like an exchange, like a silver certificate, like that's great. That's exactly what you want.
well, and if they use blockchain for transparency of the treasury of the state, that would be a good thing. Now, if there's anything in that that violates my privacy or any gold or silver holder's privacy, then that would be the bad part. But that's not really what I have to do some more looking into that. I just got that letter today, so I haven't had a chance to look into it that much. But
Yeah.
it could be a positive thing.
Maybe. Implementation is everything.
Yeah, it depends on, there needs to be transparency in the government. We need to have accountability of our states and
But just like in Hawk and Dove, the enigmatic player behind the curtain, pulling the strings,
right.
assigning powers. Who is it?
But it's when you need it, because they didn't need it until their parents were in trouble.
Right. But the whole point is that the point of the experiment that they were in is to find out what would happen from the chaos, which is ultimately why we're here, manifested in life in the first place.
Sounds like every day.
It really kind of removes the polarity from like the God character too. The experiment is the experiment. They literally call it the experiment. What are we doing? We're in a mind experiment, is what they're saying at the end of the book.
Really?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Pretty crazy, right?
What we're all feeling like lately, like especially watching this movie roll out and getting more and more ridiculous, and the kayfabe getting stronger, and the green flash, and it just at one point, do we all admit there was another thing that 48 Hours has quit filming in Tulsa, and that made me
48 Hours is a
it's
news
like a TV show that does like the first 48 hours after like a crime or something.
Oh, it's like, one of those late night. If you find the suspect, call us at this number on the screen.
I think so.
Yeah.
But I'm not really 100% sure. But when I saw that, I was like, oh, 48. Okay, well, that's after Trump. And are they saying like they're ready? I don't know. I had many thoughts go through my mind when I saw that. But the movie seems to be
there are
coming.
48 continental states.
There you go.
Arizona being the 48th one. Also the one that was incorporated. Yeah, the last one on the landmass to be incorporated in, probably because of the Grand Canyon. Interesting. State 48, baby.
State 48. That's where I was born.
Yeah, which was also, what year was it instituted?
33?
1912.
12.
Same year as the Titanic crash, and the year before the Fed was actually installed. Timing is very consequential for shoring up Arizona statehood before the Fed could be installed. What do you think about that?
That's the timing.
Titanic, Arizona statehood, Fed. Bang, bang, bang.
Right.
Got to get rid of McKinley first. That motherfucker. He's legislating too much in favor of silver and gold being sound money. We can't implement our worldwide dominion of control with him alive. McKinley's key. The World's Fair is key. Tartaria in the old ways are key.
So what do you think when they say gold will destroy the Fed? Do you think that's because it
I think like what we just read in Cliff's data. What we read in Cliff's data, just in order to absorb the valuation of what's been created digitally.
Well, and
you have dedicated machines funneling money in circles, just like we've talked about. They're like the I call them the money valves, right? Where you have gambling legalized on apps. Right. You have OnlyFans gobbling up billions. All of people's vices have become legalized on an app of some form or another, and they're gobbling up a bunch of money. This is keeping the money velocity high. And you have unicorn companies gobbling up valuations, creating CapEx out of nowhere, trillions of dollars being hidden behind the scenes. It's all money velocity. So when you have to when you have to actually reconcile all this and value the digits that you're trading around to something hard like gold, it becomes untenable because it's millions of it's silly. It's millions of dollars per ounce.
Even in talking about that, someone I respect very much said, "No, not $200." Like $10,000, like thousands of dollars
with
for
silver. Sure. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It's just at the point, the way I always interpreted Cliff's data is that we would stop necessarily tracking it at $600 because past that, everything else would be so absurd that it didn't matter. That would be just the last point at which we stopped tracking it in US dollars terms, old fiat ferns. Who knows where we go from there?
I believe you.
Have you seen the dime, for instance? Pull up the new designs.
No, because that's the next cartoon on the Fed is the dime. We've talked about this before.
I know, but they're redesigning everything for the 250th. So I'm saying all of the U.S. Mint, they redesigned a lot of things, pretty much all the coinage, just for a 1-year special edition. And you look at the back of the dime. It says "Liberty over Tyranny" on it, and the eagle curiously has dropped the olive branch. He's only holding the arrows.
250. Oh, I hate pre-search. I have to change my thingy. They do not do any images. Okay, hold on. 5 quarters and a dime are new feature designs in 2026, but that's like an Instagram.
The 250th anniversary. You just look up 250th anniversary coin designs. That's what you should find. All of them.
Here's the mint. Here we go. Oh,
mint, yeah. It's Lady Liberty on the front. Her face is looking to the right. She's wearing a Phrygian cap with a star-spangled bandana. You're looking at silver. You got to look at like the U.S. Mint's website.
Yeah. Let me try again. Okay. Share this tab instead. Do not sign up for. Okay, here we go. Honors Legacy. These are gold proofs.
Yeah, if you just go to
there's the silver.
There we are. That's the circulating coins. Boom. Click on them. The dime is up in the
And here's the dime.
Learn more. Okay. Now, there you go. There's Lady Liberty. Phrygian cap, star-spangled bandana. Homage to the Morgan and Barber silver and half, full silver and $50 from from the late 1800s era, McKinley's era. The Phrygian cap is deep symbolism also back to the French Revolution and what it means to overthrow your usurpers. It has to do a lot with some weird history, which we don't need to get into with the Phrygians.
Okay.
Nonetheless, there's the face of it. Look at the back of it.
I'll have to go back to that other picture because it's not showing the back on this one.
Okay.
This one shows both sides.
There it is. Yeah. So scrolling, do you see how the eagle is on there holding the arrows, but in empty talon, he's just dropped the olive branch.
Oh.
So the eagle holding the arrows and the olive branch, that's the balance of power in Congress being represented, right? With the ability to legislate for war, but the balance to keep peace with citizens or whatever the fuck, right? So very clear symbolism, the olive branch is being dropped and it's on. We're going to war. You know, it's right there in the fucking dime.
I don't see nickels. I see
That's the nickel.
Is that the nickel? Okay, I thought that was they're having a collective.
No, the quarter is next to it. It's the Mayflower, and then the $50 is Lady Liberty's face handing the torch off to the next generation.
I love it.
So the torch is now removed from the back of the dime. Used to be the fascias. Remember, it used to be a fascia with the Mercury dime. Anyway, focusing specifically on the dime and the dime comic. There's new dime symbolism is what I'm talking about. Yeah. And if you notice, there's some new phraseology on the back too that's never been scribed before.
Knowledge, something is only guardian of truth and liberty.
Liberty
on the $50.
On the $50. That's never been on there before. It's always just been liberty, e pluribus unum, and in God we trust. Those are the phrases that you see on coinage. And for some reason, this year with the coinage
is guardian of truth.
Yeah, the guardian of truth. And on that, look on the dime.
United States.
It says
liberty over tyranny.
Over tyranny.
Wow. Might want to get some dimes for 2026.
Well, let's get a collectible proof set of them. It might not be bad to have for your collection because they're just copper nickel clad things now. But
we think.
I don't think they're minting silver coins at the mint right now. But maybe I'm wrong.
We'll find out.
Maybe I'm wrong.
Philadelphia Mint public tours are closed in the news. Huh. Wonder what they're doing. Beginning March 9th. Oh, renovations. Just like the Fed, That's what I was sharing a second ago about Judy Shelton calling out the Federal Reserve. And she said, what's funny is that, and they're talking about saying all these lofty declarations about the Fed's commitment to accountability and transparency. And she even does one of Powell's quotes, with independence comes the responsibility to provide transparency that enables effective oversight by Congress, which in turn supports the Fed's democratic legitimacy, which there's no democratic anything in the United States. But you can go to their website and search for building renovations, and you don't see any accounting numbers on the current costs of the renovation project. So they're not being very transparent. So I think the timing of seeing her call them out, because I think she's little Judy Shelton. I think she is Roto-Ruta, or she's Ruta in the comic book.
What's Bix said about that? Have you talked to him about that?
Oh, we've talked about it before. I don't know that he disagrees. He always thinks he likes my conspiracy theories. So he usually giggles and pushes back on me some, but just that. And then her writing, what is it? Money Meltdown, and getting the letter from Nixon. Mm-hmm. And she said in interviews recently that, if Trump were to, at least by, July 4th, that would be the perfect timing for him to come out and say there's a gold-backed U.S. Treasury dollar or note. I think she calls it a note, not a dollar.
JFK Jr. comes on stage to make the announcement.
I'd watch. For sure. Oh man, it's going to
Yeah.
be a great year. Yeah,
It's AI. He's not real.
it's a hologram.
Look, it's a hologram.
Yes, that'd be a
Can
great
you
way
imagine the confusion? Oh,
to
man.
hide and just say you're a hologram. No, I'm not here. It was like a Jedi mind trick. Wasn't me.
Mhm.
I'm a hologram.
Yeah.
You saw a
Well,
hologram.
tomorrow we'll see how any of these rituals culminate. The Middle East is Israel fighting itself. Everybody half brain knows this. Stop with your emotional spectrum of
Yes.
freak outedness and just control what you can control here on the home front, because the Israel deception has to be fought over there, and
But it's
the military is
part of
against the
Iran
CIA.
getting attacked is that's where a lot of things are kept and buried, and they're being. It's first they brought it back from Venezuela, and now they're bringing it. I think Cuba's next.
The military is, yeah, like we talked about in the pre-show, the military is very much fighting the CIA right now. That's what the war is. Has to be sussed out. The cartels have to be ridded, and the deception has to end. You've got to eliminate the Israeli installed Iranian leadership. It was all the 70s, guys. Go read your history. If you were to take numbers these days, I've heard estimates that as high as 70% of the population in Iran is Christian, like Protestant Christian.
Interesting.
Type belief systems. So Israel's got to go. And I think the military is dissecting it bit by bit by way of the
That's
kayfabe.
why maybe they had to be saved for last, because they were going to be held responsible for taking down everything they created.
Right.
All right. Well, it's getting late.
Right.
I love this, but I gotta go.
Yeah, I do too.
All right. Thanks, Ben. I really appreciate it. I appreciate all the work that you put into decoding things and sharing with the community. You guys make sure you follow Ben on Vcipher Community over on Rumble, and catch us here every Thursday for some more Vsteg. See ya.
Yeah. See you next week. Happy Friday the 13th.
They murdered my family. They thought they murdered me. My actions are not vengeance. No, not vengeance. Punishment.
Telling you that. Do you get it? We are in a war. It's a digital war. You just watch what happened a couple minutes ago, and then you're wondering, but why doesn't he tell us this detail right here? Why? Why the fuck do you think I don't? Are you pissed yet? You've got days to save your country. And when people do what they have to do, don't be fussing like somebody is overstepping the line. If you hear that from somebody, tell them to shut the fuck up and get out of our face. We're not letting the steal stand. Take that and stuff it right up your ass. It's not gonna happen. Am I being clear enough to me?
I know but listen.
My administration will be here for you every single step of the way. We've done everything we can do, and now we're just waiting for the storm. And I guess it's right behind me. It's following me.
We're on the front lines of the most important battle in history, and it is the battle to save democracy and freedom and human liberty and human dignity from this totalitarian cartel that is trying to rob us simultaneously in every nation in the world of the rights that every human being is born with. So thank you for your courage, thank you for your commitment, and thank you for your brotherhood, and I can pledge to you that I will go down dying with my boots on, fighting side by side with all of you to make sure that we return these rights and preserve them for our children. And I will see all of you on the barricades. Thank you.
I'm gonna pull the whole thing down. I'm gonna bring the whole fucking diseased, corrupt temple down on your head. It's gotta be biblical.